Okay, now we are here with our practice quiz for 2.1 through 2.4. You should have reviewed your notes and you should also have them out by you to reference. So this is the practice quiz, which is going to be similar to your quiz in the same order as well. So the first two questions are asking you to tell whether the two figures are congruent or not. So that is in our section 2.1 notes. If you didn't remember, you can use your notes or what you remember, but remember congruent means the same size and same shape. So what you're going to do is tell whether the two figures are congruent for number one. So if I look at it, well, these are all size 3. Oops. Over here we have all size 4. So these are not congruent because they are not the same size. They'd have to have the same side lengths. They're the same shape, but they're not the same size. Okay, so looking at our next one, we're going to look at this and say, is it congruent or not? So remember, same shape, same size. So we can tell they're both rectangles. And then if you look at it, if this side is 3, we know this one's got to be 3. If this one's 4, this one's got to be 4. And then same with over here. Even though it looks like we've rotated them, this would be 3, this would be 4. So this would be congruent. They're the same shape and size. You have to have an explanation. All right, so let's look at the next few. So it's kind of hard to see, but hopefully you can see it better on yours. You're just going to tell whether the first figure is a translation, which means slide, a reflection, which means we flipped it, or a rotation, which means we turned it. So if I look at this one, it's going this way. So if I were to slide it, it should be going the same way. But if I look at it, I can tell right there, this is a reflection. When you see your regular quiz, just because you see similar figures, be careful you're checking to see which type of transformation it's made, because just because it's this figure doesn't mean it's going to be a reflection on the quiz. You have to look at which way the figure goes. This looks like it's been flipped over so that it would be a mirror image. This one next, I've got like half moon shapes, it looks like, and they're both exactly, they point the same way. So it looks like this is actually just, I slid it over. So remember, a slide means to translate. That's a slide. All right, here's my next little figure, a little snail or whatever, squiggly. So if it looks like here, here's the inside one and the outside one, inside one and the outside one. So it's not a flip. It's not a, if I were to rotate it, it looks like it would actually have, these would be somewhere else. So we didn't turn it. So this is actually, if I moved it like up and over or over and up. So this is another slide. So that's another translation or translate. And then the next one, it looks like it's actually a triangle and has been tipped over or turned. So remember, turn means rotate. Okay, so that's your next section on the quiz, telling what happened. Okay, on the next part, on the last one on the front, so it says translate the figure 3 units to the left and 2 down. So as you can tell, I put the figure on there for you already. This makes it a little bit easier, I think, if it's the first one's on there. And we're just testing, can you translate? So each point needs to go 3 left and 2 down. So I'm just going to take my A, I'm going to go 3 left, 1, 2, 3, and 2 down, and put my new A. I'm going to go over here to see, it doesn't matter what order I do the same thing to every point. 3 left, 1, 2, 3, and then I go 2 down, 1, 2, here's my other C with the little apostrophe, and then my B, it's kind of hard to see over here. So 3 left, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 down. Here's my other B. There's my new figure. If I were to draw it out, right, you can see it there. Now I'm just going to list what are my new coordinates. This is where we have to be careful. When you list your coordinates, your X is always left or right first, and then you go up or down to say whether it's the Y. So I'm going to go to A. I go left 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's -4. And then I go down 1, that's -1. And then if I go here to C, 1, 2, 3, 4, again, I'm at -4. So I'm going to go over to this one. And then I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, -4. That was for C. And then for B, I go over 0. And then I go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's -4. So again, just be careful when you're listing your new ordered pairs that you're going left to right first and then up or down. Okay, let's go to the second page of the practice quiz. So this is where we actually have a reflection. So remember, a reflection is a little bit easier just to do on the graph. We had said we are going to make sure we highlight if it's in the X or the Y. So this wants us to translate in the Y axis. So that means I'm going to draw my little line here because everything is going to be a mirror across from my Y axis. So if my A right here is 1 on this side, we're going to go across the blue line, and this is going to be my new A. And I'm going to put a little line. If my C is 1 across here, I'm going to just flip across the blue line, and there is my new C. And then if my B is, I'm counting, it's 1, 2, 3 over here. I'm just going to go to the blue line, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3 here, and that is my new B. So that's what the reflection is going to look like. You can draw the triangle out or not. Sometimes it's easier to just list the ordered pairs, but that is a reflection in the Y. We went across the Y. So my new ordered pair, I'm going to list it. I remember you go over. So I go over 1, up 1. So that's 1, 1. And then let's go to my, it doesn't matter. I can go in order B. So I go 1, 2, 3. So I am -3. I went that way, and then down 2, -2. I'm sorry, that was, yep, that's my B. And then my C, my new C, I went over 1 and down 2, which is a negative when you go down. Okay, and now we have the last couple. So the last two, so remember, we're rotating. So this is our rotation note. So again, this is the 2.4, the last thing we went over in the review video. With the 180, we talked about that's an easier move because with 180, all we do, we keep our coordinates the same in the same spot, but make them opposites. So if you write that down, it'll be the same thing on your actual quiz. So if my ordered pair here is, I'm going to write the ordered pair here, is actually on this one, it's -1, 1. That's what it actually is. That's my real A. So what we're going to do, opposite, opposite. Okay. Let's look at my B. So your original B is actually 3, -2. So your original B is 3, -2. And that'll be listed for you on the quiz and put on there. So again, we do opposite, opposite. So -3. And then since it's -2, we're going to make it positive. And then C, okay, C is at -1 and then -2. So C is at -1, -2. So again, opposite, opposite, that would put us at 1, 2. So if we were to actually want to draw this out, we could put this on the graph too, but all it says is to rotate the figure and tell us the new coordinates. So I would say to you, if you just put the new coordinates, you do not need to put the new figure on the graph, okay? Okay, so we are doing the last one, and we are talking about a rotation, and it's going to be 90 degrees clockwise. So remember in your notes, again, that's section 2.4. 90 degrees clockwise is the same as 270 counterclockwise. and we talked about this rule. I'm going to put the rule down here and refer back to my note sheet that's in front of me, which looks like it says 2.4. So yours is going to look like this, just like mine. And we're going to go back to this rule, the 270 counterclockwise and 90 degrees. So we flip our X and Y, and then the first one stays the same, and the second one becomes its opposite. So we flip the coordinates, and then first stays, comma, that would be our pair. Second is opposite, or OPP. Good enough. That's our thing. All right, so I'm going to flip these. So it's going to become 1, -1, because that's our ordered pairs. And then the first stays the same, second becomes its opposite. So that's where I need my pencil. So I make sure that's just a +1, or if you want to change it to a plus sign so we know it's a +1. So again, flip these two. This would be a -2, and then 3. First stays the same, second becomes its opposite. So that's actually going to become a negative. And then the last one, again, these are the ordered pairs. This is already in the graph for you, but we don't even need to graph it. Flip the 2, so -2, -1. And then again, remember, first stays the same, second becomes its opposite. So instead of a -1, it should be a +1. So that is how we do our rotations. Okay, so now you're going to use this, and you are going to take the quiz yourself using this and your other note sheets. And then you will send a picture of the quiz to myself or Mrs. Taylor. If you have Miss Taylor too, you can send it to her. If you just have me, you can send it to me.